You guys know who the GOAT is, don't you?
Who?
I'm the GOAT.
I'm the goat.
I'm the goat.
Hey, stop eating stuff, Bob.
Bad.
Hi guys, Mike here with Board Game Rundown. Hopefully you have been enjoying our board game content, but today we're going for something completely different. As some of you may know, we started our first annual Fantasy Football League, our Board Game Rundown Fantasy Football League. We use the ESPN format, and we got a bunch of course, myself and Tim, my co-host. We got some designers that we know, and we got several of you, our regular viewers, who happen to be very active in our live stream chat and our Discord. We decided to start a fantasy football league this year because we're very passionate about football. Obviously, some of you are too because you've joined the league. And we've got a very competitive league this year. We've got 4 playoff spots that teams are vying for. And right now, there's 6 teams that are looking very solid, and some good teams are probably going to be eliminated right at the very last week. Um, so today, what I want to do is go over the top 10 draft picks from our draft. So a little sort of context here. We've got a 10-team league. It is a 2 quarterback league where you can only have a max of 3 quarterbacks because I didn't want teams hoarding quarterbacks. Otherwise, pretty standard ESPN format: 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a flex, a defense, and a kicker. Um, I did extend the bench a bit, so we actually had an 18 round draft. And also, before we get too far, you have to apologize. It's that time of year where the weather starts to change here in northern Indiana, and this cough drop is only going to do so much. I hope my coughs are not too terribly annoying. But I've got a fairly scratchy throat, and we'll try to get through this. So, that being said, standard ESPN format. It is a 1 point per reception league, so PPR. So I think that's about it. If you like this kind of content, please give me a thumb, consider subscribing to our channel, and we'll go ahead and jump into this list. So, of course, making the best draft pick list very much had to consider where the players were drafted. You're not going to see high draft picks here because the guys drafted in the early parts of the round are expected to do well. So I kind of started um, from the bottom of the draft and then worked my way up. This, however, is the highest pick on my list, and it is actually one of my picks. I tried to spread this around. I will say there are 2 of my picks on this list, but I think they're both deserving. Let me know in the comments. Okay, so my first entry for this list, my number 10 best pick of the draft, was pick number 40. Again, by far the highest pick of any of these. And that was the tail end of the 4th round when I took the number 1 receiver from the Seahawks, and that is Jackson Smith Njigba. The reason he made the list is because he is wide receiver number 1 right now. And there were lots of wide receivers taken before Smith and Jigba. And when I took him at the end of the 4th, I was kind of hoping he was going to be a solid wide receiver number 2. No, he is legitimately evolved into one of, if not the best wide receivers in football. There were some question marks when, the Seahawks let DK Metcalf go, and he ended up with the Steelers. And Smith and Jigba would go from lining up in the slot to on the outside. They also turned over QBs. They let Geno Smith walk and brought in Sam Darnold. So with all those question marks, people weren't really sure if he was going to evolve into a number 1 wide receiver. He absolutely did. This kid is legit. Another Ohio State wide receiver that has turned into an absolute beast, and definitely one of my better draft picks. So my number 10 pick for this list is Jackson Smith Njigba. Going back to that real quick, you'll notice too, he's got 35 more points than the next wide receiver on this list. So he has very much separated himself as the best fantasy wide receiver in football, at least to this point. I am filming this on Monday, November 24th. So keep in mind that means that the Monday night football game has not been played for we're in week 12. So just keep that in mind. There are some guys I'll mention on this that have not actually played their game yet. The game tonight is the Panthers and 49ers. I'll get to that later, though. So that's my number 10, Jackson Smith and Jigba. Again, my highest pick on this list. My number 9 is another wide receiver, but much later in the draft. This was a round 11 pick, and this pick was made by Austin, aka Saki in the Discord of the Lost Cats. And I am talking about Michael Pittman of the Indianapolis Colts. Michael Pittman right now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He is wide receiver 9 right now, and the Colts have already had their bye. Austin picked Michael Pittman in round 11. Now, there was a lot of question marks about the Colts going into this season. Who was going to win the quarterback job? If it was Anthony Richardson, was he going to improve upon last year? And if Daniel Jones, was it going to be the same Daniel Jones that lost his job in Minnesota? And was Michael Pittman even going to be healthy this year? He had really a big setback season last year. He had some back issues, and Michael Pittman has really stepped forward this year, as have the entire Colts offense. Michael Pittman here coming in at wide receiver number 9 has really had a great season. So I mean, yeah, there's a big logjam right here. I mean, there's very little, separating number 8 Olave and the next several guys here. That tends to be how it is. But currently, after week 12, Michael Pittman is sitting at wide receiver 9. So I'm going to give him my ninth best pick. Very good value pick by Austin there. All right, my number 8, we're gonna stick with the Colts, because, well, I talked about the question marks coming into this season, and, let's just look at the very end of our draft. You'll see that Daniel Jones was the 3rd to the last pick in the league, and in a 2 QB league, QBs are a premium. So when you can take the 8th highest ranked quarterback and he's 2 picks away from being Mr. Irrelevant, that is a great pick by Steve Seitz, one of our regular viewers and one of our Discord members. If you remember, the Colts really started off on fire this year, and really before these last couple weeks where the Colts have struggled a little bit against good defenses like the Chiefs, and the Steelers, where Daniel clearly played his worst game against a team that likes to blitz a lot. He was closer to a top 5 quarterback in fantasy football. So he has taken a few steps back, but regardless, this was a fantastic pick by Steve. When you can get that kind of production out of your quarterback that late in the draft, you'll take that all day. Hopefully the Colts success continues, as does Mr. Daniel Jones. Of course, I am a Colts fan, so I'll show my bias there. But regardless, I don't think anybody will deny that Daniel Jones was a great pick in this draft. That's why he's my number 8. My number 7, we are again going to go back to the excuse me, I warned you, the very end of our draft. One pick ahead of Daniel Jones was Jake Ferguson. Jake Ferguson currently is wide receiver number 2. Now, sure, he's 50 points behind Trey McBride. But if you would have told me at the beginning of the year that he would outscore Brock Bowers, who's way down here, I would have called you nuts. So to be able to get tight end number 2, regardless how far back he is behind tight end number 1, that is just an incredible pick. And that means I'm also giving my co-host Tim Aberly some credit, who decided to troll our two designers that are in the league, the designers of Sagrada and Wine Cellar, and called his team the Suckgrada Wino Smellers. Um, Fantastic pick by Tim. Again, tight end number two, 3 picks from the very end of the draft. Just fantastic value there. You'll take that all day long. So that is why um, Jake Ferguson makes my number 7. Number 6, this is our first rookie here, and this is a rookie I was trying to target in every draft. I really wanted him in every draft I could get him, but I certainly should have snagged him up before round 11. And it was Rob Silver who picked up Emeka Egbuka with his the second pick of round 11. I mean, so you're talking like pick 100 112 here, just incredible value. And Igbuka right now, let me go back to our wide receivers here. Um, he is 2 picks behind Pittman. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Wide receiver 11. Again, very crowded between this bunch here. Um, just fantastic value. I mean, when you can get wide receiver 11 in the 11th round, just a great pick by Rob Silver there. Again, one of our viewers, and his team is in it. He's one of the teams that'll be fighting for one of those 4 playoff spots for sure. Really, really great pick. I was pretty confident he was going to be a good player, and then of course, Chris Godwin still hasn't played, and we knew that going into the season that he would probably miss a month. But now we're more than 2 months into the season, nearly 3 months into the season, actually, and Godwin still hasn't played, and now Mike Evans is hurt. He's really kind of stepped forward as like their clearly Baker Mayfield's number 1 target. So a really, really great pick there by Rob Silver. Emeka Egbuka, my number 6. Excuse me again. All right, back to a pick I made. But again, this is just absolutely ridiculous value, and of course, it's just you're going to see more and more value as we continue to go forward. My number 6 pick here was a round 16 draft pick, and I'm talking about Wan'Dale Robinson. So Wan'Dale, last year, the Giants kind of had up and down QB play, and they weren't very good. They haven't been very good this year either, until they figured out that Jackson Dart could play, and they showed some promise. But Wan'Dale caught 85 catches last year. The problem is he hardly got any yards per catch. Um, but this year, if we take a look at his production, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, wide receiver 10 in the 16th round is just crazy value. I just really kind of figured if their quarterback play improved this year, and his catches went more yardage. I'm so sorry. And he could get another 85 catches. He's bound to get more yardage and more touchdowns. And sure enough, that has happened. And Jackson Dart has really helped solidify him as a very good slot receiver. Plus, unfortunately for a lot of people, Malik Neighbors went down, and ever since Neighbors got hurt, Wendell stepped up as their number 1. He's easily getting the most targets in this offense. So pretty good pick by myself there. I was hoping to catch lightning in a bottle, and I certainly did. Wendell Robinson, my number 5. Um, my number 4 here. This is a pick by Jason Smith of the Board Game Mechanics, and whenever you can get great, I think is this the only? Yes, this is the only running back on this list, and I think the reason is because running backs go really, really early. I personally have a strategy of always trying to get running backs early and waiting to get QBs because I always feel like you can get QB value even very late in the draft, or even sometimes as free agents. And so it can be difficult to get running back value, but Jason was able to get Javante Williams. Javante Williams currently he's running back 8, and he picked him in the 13th round. I mean, I didn't count how many running backs went before Javante. I should have. He's probably in the 30s. There were probably more than 30 running backs that were taken before Javante Williams. So this is just absolutely insane value at pick 140 to get wide receiver or sorry, running back number 8. Just insane here. Um, yeah, absolutely insane. I mean, he's outscoring Kyron Williams. He's outscored Ashton Genty and Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry. I mean, again, if you would have told me Javante Williams was going to score more than Kyron Genty, Barkley, and Henry, Chase Brown, yeah, I would have told you you're nuts. But man, absolutely great pick by Jason. That's why I had to make Javante my number 4. Just a absolutely fantastic pick. Um, I think some people were maybe more interested in the upside of Jadon Blue, who was a rookie running back draft pick by the Cowboys this year, and kind of unsure how they were going to use Javante, who's been good but also injury riddled with the Broncos in the past. But you know, they always have a great offensive line, so if somebody gets a lot of carries in that offense, they can do pretty well, and Javante certainly has. All right, my number 3, we're actually staying with the Dallas Cowboys, because when you can get George Pickens in round 9, pick number 92 here, and he becomes wide receiver 2. My goodness, just an incredible pick here by Steve Seitz, one of our viewers in the Discord. Man, I mean, CeeDee Lamb was a first rounder in every format, and he got hurt early in the year. And so, I mean, yeah, there were some people that expected Pickens to kind of step up. Others were a little nervous about him because the Steelers moved off of him, and the Steelers are notorious for moving off of wide receivers that have attitude issues. Um, and they let go of receivers that don't do a whole lot when they leave Pittsburgh. And well, George Pickens certainly has. The guy has been awesome. So really, really good pick. Again, that was pick or excuse me, round 9 for wide receiver number 2. Just an incredible pick by Steve. Okay, so now we're on to our top 2. I've got a couple more quarterbacks here. I didn't do this intentionally, but it's a 2 QB league. And so quarterbacks are a premium. There were 2 quarterbacks. Let's actually look at this. I'll show you here. There were 2 quarterbacks picked in the first round, Josh Allen and Jaden Daniels. So, and then 3 more in the second round. So that tells you how much people were valuing quarterbacks. Okay. So let's go back here and look at who are the highest rated quarterbacks in fantasy football this year. Well, look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 5 was Matthew Stafford, who was picked by Austin again in round 12. Matthew Stafford in the middle of round 12, QB5, just incredible value, and might be a runaway winner for the MVP this year. He's got a 30-2 touchdown to interception ratio. That is insane. I mean, they already had one of the best wide receivers in football in Puka Nacua, and then they put Devontae Adams on the other side. Just ridiculous for a stud veteran quarterback for Matthew Stafford to have those two guys to target. And Matthew Stafford has been awesome this year. Rams looking like they might be a number one seed. Stafford might be the NFL MVP. And so when you can get the fifth ranked quarterback in round 12, yeah, I'm going to put that pretty high on this list when we're talking about a 2 QB league. So excellent pick by Austin there. That is Matthew Stafford, my number two. My number one is another quarterback pick. And this was another guy that again I was targeting in every draft. This was the first quarterback I wanted to take. I like to wait on quarterbacks. I took the last quarterback on the board. I was the 10th team to take a quarterback. But Rob beat me to this one. I'm talking about Drake May. Drake May has been incredible. He is the reason the New England Patriots are the one seed in the AFC right now. He was towards the tail end of the 8th round, and he is QB2. I mean, yeah, what else can you say? In a 2 QB league, that's nuts. That is nuts. He was the 14th quarterback off the board. Just insane value, a fantastic pick by one of our viewers, Rob Silver of the Rowdy Robbie Pipers. Incredible value. And this is one of the reasons I say wait on a quarterback. Because you can get picks like Matthew Stafford late or Drake May in the 8th round. Man, I can't say enough about how good of a pick that was. Drake May has been very, very good this year. And he might just lead the Patriots to the number one seed in the NFL, in the AFC, excuse me. So there you go. That is my top 10 picks of our first ever fantasy football league hosted by Board Game Rundown. I've got 2 honorable mentions for you. Let me go ahead and get to those real quick here. Let me find how high up this guy was. So again, I only had one running back in my top 10. Pardon me again. I will sneak one more running back in here as my first honorable mention. I'm talking about Travis Etienne. Travis Etienne right now is currently RB11. He was taken in the 8th round by Jason Smith of the Board Game Mechanics. Just great value. Again, it's really hard to get running back value. And I was not sold. I didn't like this pick. I was not sold on the Jacksonville running back room. I thought there was too much competition. They already had Tank Bigsby, who was pretty good last year, and actually put up, I believe, better numbers than Etienne did. And then they drafted Bashal Tutton. So they have three running backs at the beginning of the season. I was worried about getting carries, but no, Etienne has clearly stepped up as as the top running back in Jacksonville to the tune of, again, he's been RB11, and Jason took him in the 8th round. So great value there by Jason. All right, I'm sorry again. Last honorable mention here is another pick by myself, and it is right here. Tet McMillan at the very end of round 8. This is the rookie wide receiver that I was trying to take in every draft, along with Igbuka. And currently, the Panthers have not played their Week 11 game, and Tet McMillan right now is wide receiver 12. He has really stepped up as of late. He just continues to get better as the season goes on. And yeah, to be able to get wide receiver 12 in round 8, who, depending on how he does tonight, could very easily pass some of these guys and move into the top 10. I mean, he was also the first wide receiver off the board in the actual NFL draft. And so I just like the kid. Good route runner, great hands. He's huge. He's 6'4". I just thought there was too many things to like about this kid. I wanted him in every draft I was in. And I did pick him a lot, and he has paid off, certainly. being a potential top 10 wide receiver in the 8th round for me. So there you go. Those were my top 10 picks made in the Board Game Rundown Fantasy Football League, with a couple honorable mentions. Real quick, I will run back through all of these for you, and we'll go ahead and wrap this up. My number 10, Jackson Smith and Jigba, currently wide receiver 1 at pick 40. Michael Pittman, round 11 pick, currently wide receiver 9. Daniel Jones, QB 8, round 18, 3 picks from the very end of the draft. Jake Ferguson, tight end number 2, 4 picks from the very end of the draft. Emeka Egbuka, round 11, wide receiver 11. Number 5, Wandale Robinson, round number 16, currently wide receiver 10. Number 4, Javonte Williams, the last pick of round 13, currently running back 8. George Pickens, round 9, currently wide receiver number 2. Matt Stafford, a round 12 pick, who's QB number 5. And Drake May, round 8 pick, who is currently QB number 2. My honorable mentions again, Travis Etienne and Tat McMillan. So there you go, guys. Those are my top 10 picks of the Fantasy Football League hosted by Board Game Rundown. Hopefully you enjoyed this kind of content. And for those that are in the league, really appreciate you guys that are still setting your lineup, making moves, trying to keep things competitive. It has been a competitive league. For a 10-team league, we've only got 4 playoff spots. And right now there's 6 teams that look poised to make a run. There's only 2 games separating first place and 6th place right now. So it's been very tight. I'm really looking forward to seeing how things wrap up towards the end of the season here, and can't wait to give away the prize to the winner. So that's going to wrap it up for me. Ton of fun doing this kind of content. As you guys may already know, very passionate about fantasy football, and it's really fun. I love doing this kind of content. And I just thought, you know what? I haven't done any since the draft analysis. So why not here the week before Thanksgiving put out something that award you guys that have made some really great value picks in our draft. I always love looking at that kind of stuff. I found myself looking at it anyway, and I'm like, wait, if I'm looking at this, why don't I just make a video about it? And hopefully people will watch. So hopefully you are one of them. If you've made it this long, give me a thumb. Appreciate it. If you like this kind of content and you're not a subscriber, hopefully you consider doing that too. And other than that, I will see you next time for the Board Game Rundown. I was Mike, and have a great Thanksgiving, everybody.
Do you like to party?
I do like to party.
I also like to party.
I like to party.
A 7.3.
This is a great party.
Repeating.
We should party more often.
Heating.
I do like to party.
Heating.
Okay.
I also like to party. I also like to party.
I like to party. I like to party.
We should party more often.
Okay.
This is a great party.
Okay.